Everyone knows the world's greatest sport is football. Passion,
Pride,
glory.
nothing defines the true spirit of American competition better than college football.
College football rivalry. No end-zone celebration.
No flashy endorsement deal.
Yet it captures the undying loyalty from the entire university.
No nay from the entire state. See, something sets college football apart from other sporting events in America. It's more than winning and losing.
It is something that is intangible.
And this
is our quest. Together we'll discover the rich history,
the impassioned tradition,
and the true spirit of college football rivalry.
I'm Peyton Clarkson.
I'm Brandon Williams, and this is Rivals. We're here at Yale University, perhaps one of the country's most respected and prestigious institutions. Some of the most brilliant minds were educated here, and their ingenuity changed the face of the world as we know it. Now, it can be argued that the greatest gift these ivy-covered walls produced was American football. Walter Camp, known as the father of American football, attended Yale in the late 19th century. Now, when he was here, the game of football was a mere shadow of its modern-day status. When he played the very first Harvard-Yale game in 1876, the wheels started turning, and he was determined to make the game better. And his genius brought about the evolution of the American style of football. Let's take a closer look. You see, the early game of football was akin to rugby, meaning it had 15 players on either side. But Walter felt this was too convoluted, so he stripped it down to 11 players. Then he created the line of scrimmage. Now, as if that wasn't enough, he also came up with the numerical sequence of goals and tries, better known today as first through fourth down. He mixed it all up with the backward snap, the quarterback, and strategic plays, and it made it the fast-paced, organized game we worship today. What do you think of that, Harvard?
Well, not bad for such a young school. I'm here at Harvard University, the oldest and most esteemed institution of higher learning in America. It was founded in 1636, just 16 years after the Pilgrims first set foot on Plymouth Rock. Now, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Camp, for giving football its new rules. However, keep in mind it was Harvard that first gave you the game of rugby. See, up until the late 1800s, Americans played soccer. And then in 1874, a Canadian university from Montreal challenged Harvard to a game, a rugby game. Now, although the Crimson had never played by these strange new rules, they still tied the game. Canadians, stay on the ice. Now, Harvard fell in love with the game, so much so that they wanted to share it with Yale. So a couple of years later, we challenged you sons of Eli to the first rugby game, and thus the rivalry began, and the birth of American football.
Ooh, pretty impressive. But speaking of firsts, Harvard, did you know that Yale was the first college to have a mascot? That's right, Handsome Dan, an enthusiastic and ferocious bulldog. Now, it actually inspired Cole Porter to write the very first college football song, Bulldog, Bulldog. And we also fielded the first squad of cheerleaders to dance to that song. You know, we could talk about the history of Harvard-Yale all day long, but let's remember that the most important ingredient in any rivalry is tradition. And Yale's traditions are rich, impassioned, and fierce in their rivalry.
You know, perhaps some of the greatest college football traditions involve a little bit of mischief. Pranks, hacks, call them what you will. Now, Harvard has certainly done its fair share of pranks over the years. They practically invented the stolen mascot, a wildcat no less. However, it seems that Harvard has established itself in the forefront of these traditions by becoming the butt of the pranks. One of the most famous pranks is carried out by a group of Yale students dressed up as the non-existent Harvard Pep Squad. They proceeded to distribute 1,800 placards to Harvard fans, telling them that when they lifted the sign in unison, it would spell Go Harvard. Instead, in the typical prankster fashion, the Harvard section lifted the placard spelling We Suck. The fans were heckling themselves.
If tradition is the heart of a good rivalry, then spirit is the soul.
And what better way to show that spirit than at a college tailgating party?
While enjoying the spirits.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Now, don't let the Ivy League reputation fool you. Harvard and Yale invented tailgating.
But here, not only will you find beer and barbecue, but also champagne and caviar. Let the partying begin.
Ow!
10,000 minute
Wait, he goes to Harvard.
I go to Harvard, it
I'm here with John Conroy, and we're tailgating Yale. How you doing?
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
How long have you been tailgating here?
Oh, we've been here for about 4 years.
So, what's your association with Yale?
I mean, 4 years continuously. We started in September of
You haven't
04, and
stopped.
we never left the field. It's a great place to tailgate.
Including champagne, huh?
Somebody has to show Harvard and Princeton how to go to a football game, because they clearly don't know.
Today, Harvard and Yale will meet on the gridiron for the 123rd time.
Now, the outcome will create memories of triumph or defeat that will last a lifetime.
But as we've learned, rivalry is much more than mere bragging rights.
Right. It's about rich history.
It's passion, tradition.
In the true spirit of rivalry is Harvard and Yale come together for one day to create the greatest atmosphere of competition in the universe. Oh, I know I do. I'm Peyton Clarkson.
And I'm Brandon Williams, and we are your tickets to Rivals. See you at the game.